Happy National Apprenticeship Week, everybody, and thank you for joining us for this session on apprenticeships in accountancy and financial services. I'm Jenny Pelling. I'm the Director of Apprenticeship Development and Diversity at Kaplan Financial, and I'm really delighted to be joined by two of our fantastic apprentices, Ursa Hussain from just north of Birmingham
Hello, everyone.
and Daj Lagar from Wolverhampton.
Hi, everybody.
Brilliant. So, Ursa, if I start with you, can you just tell us a little bit about the apprenticeship you're doing and what's involved?
Thanks, Jenny. So I'm doing the Level 7 apprenticeship, and it's a joint qualification where I'm studying towards the ACA and the CTA. So that's a Chartered C in accounting and a Chartered C in tax. And I work in global mobility at Vialto Partners. So that involves helping employees and businesses that move across borders with their cross-border implications and other compliance bits and advisory and consulting.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Daj, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm a HSBC degree apprentice that joined in 2020. I'm currently in my final year of the scheme. So um, the apprenticeship that I'm doing is at HSBC. I'm going through 4 rotations in WPB, which stands for Wealth and Personal Banking. And the apprenticeship involves a degree in financial services management that is manned and done with London Institute Banking and Finance.
Brilliant. And you're on the level 6 financial services
I
standard,
am,
aren't you? Wonderful.
yeah.
So let's keep with you, Daj, for a minute. Can you just give an insight into kind of what kind of work you do at HSBC, what kind of business you're in?
Yeah, of course. So just as I mentioned, wealthy personal banking. So this is like the retail side where we have products and propositions and services for our customers, everyday customers in the high street, just like you and I and Ursa. And so the scheme is a 4 year rotation on different roles every 12 months within WPB. And I've had a fair selection, a wide variety actually, of roles for which when I started, I had no idea, to be completely honest with you, what they were. But the great thing with the degree apprentice is that when you join these teams and when you get involved in the first couple of weeks, it's so easy to understand. I think when people look at big organizations such as HSBC, it's so corporate, it's very much, in its own bubble, but it's so collaborative, it's so broad, and it's so diverse and inclusive that it's so easy to get along with everyone. It's so easy to understand the roles because it's said to you so easily. So it's been great. What else is involved? So the degree that I'm doing, a part of the apprenticeship, is circa 14 months in duration. So after completion, I will get a Bachelor of Sciences, Financial Services Management degree, and also a Chartered Associate with LIBF.
Fantastic, thank you. Ursa, so we know HSBC is a brand from Daj. Can you tell us a little bit about Vialto and the kind of organisation that is?
Yeah, so Vialto Partners is actually a fairly new business compared to a giant company like HSBC. And Vialto Partners actually had a acquisition recently. So we came off of PwC and I was part of that transaction. So it's been a really interesting apprenticeship journey for myself because I've gone from working from one of the biggest companies in the whole world to then working for a slightly smaller company. And that whole transition was a really interesting thing to go through. And I just think when else would I have gone through something like that in my career so early on as well? And essentially, what we do is we'll work with businesses such as HSBC and other your average company and their employees. And we'll work day to day with them in terms of their immigration and their tax and anything that sort of comes with working cross border. So what that means is we work with people all across the world, and Vialto Partners is truly global. For example, this morning I saw an email where there was a expansion into Timor-Leste. And I was thinking that's like half an island and we're expanding somewhere there. So it really is a global business and we get to work with people all over the world. I have clients in Oslo and there's often trips and there's a lot going on all the time, essentially.
Brilliant. Well, you've almost answered my next question, which is going to be what are the benefits of doing an apprenticeship in accountancy or financial services? And it sounds really exciting. What other benefits could you tell us about, Ursa?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a stigma behind working in tax where it's like it seems like it's a lot of numbers on stuff. And I found that one of the benefits for me is that there's no numbers involved, and there's a lot of new technologies being come in, and you get to learn about them very early on in their expansion. And another one of the benefits is when you're so young in an apprenticeship, having that experience of problem solving and working with loads of different people is something that you'll carry with you, regardless of where you are in your role, or if you stay in the same company, or if you go somewhere else. Another benefit is just no day is the same. There's always something going on. We recently had the tax filing deadline yesterday. So that was like the most hectic month ever, but now it's slowly calming down, which is really good. And obviously being an apprentice means that you get paid to be learning and growing your interpersonal skills at the same time. So honestly, can't fault it. Where else would I get an opportunity like this?
It's fantastic. And things that you described there, Ursa, are really on the theme of National Apprenticeship Week about skills for life. And it sounds like you are developing skills that will take you through your career.
100%. I think discipline is one of the biggest ones as well.
Yeah. Okay. So on that theme, Daj, brilliant. On that theme of kind of benefits and skills, what would you say in answer to the same question of what benefits are there of being an apprentice?
I really want to duplicate everything that Ursa said because it's so factually correct. You know, being in this position, I'm ever so grateful because I've had the opportunity to gain practical, hands-on experience in such a professional setting. I get to work alongside experienced individuals who not only teach me in my particular role, for example, but they also offer me mentorship and guidance. And I can use that throughout my career from the very beginning of my first year to the fourth, for which I'm in the apprenticeship now, my final year. Those skills are so interlinked and so kind of transfers to each other that I can use that in any area of the bank, in anywhere in the world, really, and in any organization. So I'm ever so grateful for that. And it also being in the financial industry and services and HSBC, it builds my passion for it. You know, by understanding different regulatory frameworks and pressures, risks, and all about the products and services that we offer, it really intrigues me because I get to know certain things and I can get to talk confidently with stakeholders, with people, even my friends and family. So it's really such a great benefit to understand that and build a passion for it altogether. It's fantastic.
Excellent. So, Daj, I know a little bit about the kind of culture at HSBC and what it's like to work there, and you're really strong on well-being and careers guidance and that kind of broader personal development. So, talk to us a little bit about that. How are you supported to kind of manage your work-life balance?
Oh, brilliant question. So I'm going to be totally honest, at the very beginning of the apprenticeship, it was a bit of a juggle. I felt my head was spinning constantly 360. I was like, I've got here, I've got to do the apprenticeship, for which was a hurdle in itself because you really are passionate when you apply, and it's such a great process and there's such a great opportunity that you really want it. And then when you get it, it's very much like, I've actually made it. It's actually shocking. But from the very offset, Jenny, I have to be very honest. The support was there, 100% via phone call, via Zoom, via Teams, via email. There was constant communication, and I joined during COVID, so it was very virtual, and it felt very, I just need the extra, support. But that support reached through the screen. It reached so well. It was in-depth conversations, and it wasn't just about your workload, how you manage your time, which at the very start was very hard. But the support and the advice was so thorough. It was so accurate. It's okay to struggle was one of the conversations, and it's okay. Throughout time, you'll understand how you cope and how you manage. It's so diverse too. It's not just my line manager. It's also the degree apprentice leaders. There's fantastic talent coaches at Kaplan who talk you through your workload and to write it all down. And I mean, there's no real good answer to. There's been so much support from every angle. It's just been amazing.
Do you know, that was a really good answer. You know, if I was doubting being an apprentice, I'm sold now. That was that was a fantastic answer. And actually, you're too modest to say, but you know, you have been recognised recently for an award for resilience. So that really comes through. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And Ursa, actually another award nominee here and shortlisted for the Multicultural Apprenticeship Awards, weren't you? You were a finalist there. So congratulations to you too. So how about you, Ursa, with how do you manage? What kind of other support do you get and that work-life balance question?
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. And I completely echo what Daj was saying. I think similar to what you were saying about getting support from everywhere, I don't want to repeat his words too much, but I completely agree with Kaplan, with our employers. We've always had support. And another thing is, I think just being quite kind to myself and saying, like, it's okay for me to be struggling, and I'm learning every single day to be disciplined, to kind of have boundaries with myself and with work. So knowing that at 5:30 that I do need to log off, and then I do need to, for example, if we have exams and we do need to log off and study. And it's been great that everyone's so understanding of that here. And I have not heard a single apprentice that's said otherwise. Everyone sort of gives you time off for study. They respect the fact that you are doing a quite difficult job, and you do get time off for studying as well. One of the biggest lessons I've learned in terms of maintaining my home and my work-life balance is being able to communicate really well. So make sure that you've got strong relationships with your leaders, with your managers, and the people that you work for and work with, and make sure that they know where your priorities are, and they will always respect that. And that's the beauty of being in this sort of industry and corporate environment, is that everyone's like your friend. They will really understand. So you've got to be really disciplined with yourself and communicate everywhere else. And I just want to congratulate Daj on his award as well while I'm here.
Thank you, you too. So amazing achievement.
Well, you're both fantastic ambassadors. You really are. So great advice there from you both. And I think, you know, what you were speaking about there, Ursa, it really resonates, because sometimes there will be bumps in the road along the way, inevitably, and somebody might struggle with one exam, for example, but we kind of try and build up the confidence by saying that's not a fail, that's a first attempt in learning, and just learn from that, and then you'll grow. And that's that kind of confidence boosting that we're helping to kind of inculcate and encourage in people along the way. And it's when you look back, isn't it, and you think, my goodness, I've traveled so far, I've developed so much. Imagine you both think that now, the stage you're at, when you remember what it was like at the beginning, you think, this has really changed.
Absolutely. And I've come from a position of, at school, I was quite a high achiever. You know, I sort of had that fear of failing that you don't realize you have until one day it does happen. And even that is such a lesson to be learned as an apprentice. And it's great. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah, great advice. So on this kind of point of giving great advice, I guess some of the people with us right now and listening in today are thinking about applying for an apprenticeship, especially after hearing both of you speak. So Daj, what would be your kind of top tips to somebody who's thinking of applying for an apprenticeship in accountancy or financial services?
Quite a few actually. Don't be afraid to step out your comfort zone. Honestly, just be yourself whilst you're in this position too, because people really admire that. People like that. People don't want to respond to a robot. People don't want to kind of communicate with someone with no human touch. Throughout my journey, throughout the apprenticeship, people like that, down to earth conversations. Yes, we do talk about work and the financial services and in particular what we do in our roles, but it's nice to have that touch where it's very human and you're approachable, because those skills allows you to network so easily and collaborate with so many stakeholders throughout the business, and not just in the organization itself, but in day-to-day life too. Just be nice, give someone a smile, say hello. So many great skills that you learn from that. And also something as well, that just be open to learning. Apprenticeships are just it's about learning and gaining real world experience. So approach it with an open mind, I'd say, and the willingness to absorb new knowledge and skills. It's just keep an open mind, honestly, because you'll just be amazed at everything that you learn. And it can come as a culture shock, it can come as a work overload, but the skills I think of things that I've learned within lectures and essays and work, and I'll say in a conversation whilst eating dinner, and I'm like, where did that come from? Brie? It's so interesting. So yeah, just willing to learn is great.
I love it. You just exude enthusiasm and passion. It's really brilliant. Thank you. Great tips. So how about you? You know, put yourself in the shoes of one of our listeners today thinking about applying. What tips would you give them?
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. So, honestly, one of my biggest pieces of advice would be to remember that you don't have to have it all figured out. So, apply for apprenticeships with an open mind, and don't think, oh, just because this apprenticeship is to do with financial services or tax or what have you, and you think, oh, maybe I don't really like that, or maybe I do. Just You don't have to have it figured out. I'm 22. I still don't 100% know where I'm going to be next year, the year after. And it's all about having an open mind, being open to learn. And the experience that will come with you just doing the apprenticeship and meeting new people and going to client dinners or what have you throughout your day to day, you will just learn so much about what you enjoy. And remember, an apprenticeship, of course, it's like a job, but you are getting so much out of it. So do prioritize yourself as well. So remember, what do I like? What are my strengths? So really have like a bit of moment of reflection. Because I remember when I was applying, I was thinking, what am I good at and what do I enjoy doing? And for me, it was I love being hands-on. So I knew that university wouldn't quite fit with what I wanted to do. So if you know what you're good at and what you enjoy doing, and if you're like quite a people's person, then just apply, have an open mind. And again, like we talked about failure, say a similar thing with rejection. It's not rejection, it's a time for you to grow and to get that feedback. And that's what applying with apprenticeships is good, is that they'll always give you feedback, regardless of if it's a pass or a fail or a rejection. You can then take that and grow and move on and really grow your interpersonal skills that way. I'd also say before your interviews, on a real advice level, is to be proactive and actively research where you're going to apply, because I find that during the interview process, if you sort of pick out a piece of information that you did in your research, that's quite impressive, and it shows that you are quite a proactive person, which is something that's always respected in the industry, regardless of if it's financial services or what have you.
Yeah, really good point there. And looking at the news stories on organizations' websites, so you know what's current for them, you know, checking out their vision and their values. So if that resonates with you and you can talk about it in an interview, is really important. So great advice. Thank you, Ursa, for that. And I'm just going to kind of touch on one of the things you said about people being a people person and applying. I think there's also, you know, if you're not a people person, if you're a bit more introverted and you're listening thinking, oh God, gosh, that's not me. We do a lot of work on mind fitness, on networking skills, you know, storytelling as part of business communication. So you will get the opportunity to develop those skills along the way. If that's not your strengths to start with and you've got other strengths, then we'll work on those with you. So everybody comes at this with a different starting point, and we just adapt it to you as an individual. So bear that in mind too. Okay. So kind of a question now about, you know, thinking back to when you were starting out in the early days of your apprenticeship. Daj, difficult question for you. What do you wish you'd known at the start? Now, you know, looking back, what do you wish you'd known?
Gosh, it's quite a while back. It's like 3 years ago. So I want to link this question back to the advice that I kind of gave there. I wish that I'd spoken possibly to like current apprentices, maybe to understand how they found the program, ask any questions such as, you know, have you been faced with any difficulties or any pressure during your time as an apprentice? How did you overcome those issues? Did you also get imposter syndrome? Was you naive? Like I was at the very start, not knowing the industry so well. How did you prepare? Did you go to note taking, create a whole PowerPoint presentation like I had done? How did you prepare for all these? So I really wish I contacted or really delved into knowing what the apprenticeship scheme involved, reaching out to fellow apprentices, because it's so easy to approach. There's great resources at Kaplan, there's great resources on LinkedIn to connect and share those ideas. Just a simple message to say hi, forward to, or I am currently in the stage of applying for an apprenticeship. I can see that you're in an apprenticeship here on your LinkedIn profile, whatever profile that may be. Give me your top tips. As great as it sounds, is it as bad as it sounds? Is it, what have you enjoyed? So many great questions you can ask to just cater to your field, to cater to your liking. I really wish I'd done that, but I didn't. I didn't do that. And I asked whilst working, being in the apprenticeship, and kind of did it whilst I was getting to know my role. So I did that, but I wish I'd done it prior to it, because the first day I think I was nervous, sweating. Just like I don't think I should be here. But yeah, I think I just wanted to calm my nerves really before I started. I wish I'd done that.
That's really useful, Daj, to have shared that. And I'm sure lots of people will relate to what you said just there. Thank you. And I'm conscious we've only got a little bit of time left. So Ursula, can I ask you about the best thing? What's the best thing of all about being an apprentice?
Oh, wow. I think the best, it's hard to pick just one thing, but I think the best thing is the experience that you get and learning to grow in yourself. Like you said, you don't have to be a people's person. You could be any person doing an apprenticeship, and you can go in with an open mind and grow in yourself. And I can honestly say that the skills that I've learned at work have transcended into my personal life. It's made me more of a confident person, someone that's more aware of what's going on. And like Daj was saying earlier, like you have this knowledge that you didn't even realize you had, and you'll be mentioning it, and then you shock yourself almost. And yeah, I completely agree with what Daj said earlier too. I think there's a lot of benefits, and there's a lot of my favorite things about being an apprentice. But in general, yeah, just growing in myself, and from someone who was not that confident before to being who I am now, and doing stuff like this, and being highly commended for awards. And it's just incredible, the experiences that you get.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Ursula. And Daj, a quick word from you. Best thing.
The recognition, being in a apprenticeship and going to award ceremonies in a tuxedo, being recognised at work as well, just constantly the good things that you've done, some things that you may not think are that, appraisal. You don't, I mean, no one's going to mention anything about that. But the little things they do in this apprenticeship, you get such a recognition for it. And that really boosts your confidence, and that really boosts your energy to wake up the next day and be like, I'm really excited for work. There hasn't been a day where I'm like, I've got to work today. But it's so enjoyable. It honestly is. And just the recognition's been great. Being on LinkedIn, having exposure on there, and just kind of networking, being recognised by different stakeholders who are your peers, but they get to know you and get to talk to you. It's just great. It really is great.
I am so in awe of you both, seriously, and your employers would be really proud to hear everything that you've said today. You are amazing ambassadors, both of you, for apprenticeships, and I just want to thank you on behalf of myself and the audience, actually, the pleasure of listening to you talking with us today. If anybody has any questions, there's a contact us section on Kaplan's website, kaplan.co.uk, and you can find out lots of information there around the different apprenticeships that we provide and what's involved. So do take a look. And thank you very much indeed for joining us today in National Apprenticeship Week. And finally, Ursula and Daj, my congratulations to you. You're brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You too, Jenny, and thank you, Urs, as well. It's been great to hear from another apprentice.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Bye,
Same
everybody.
with you,
Have a good rest of your day. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.